Hey YouTube family, Paul here, Paul Phillips Fix. Today I'm working on taking the valve covers off of a W210, that's an 01 Mercedes E430. I have all the coil packs removed already, the air box and the MAF sensor. If you want to know how to remove them, if you look on my page, there's a video on doing spark plugs on this car. And I go through the steps of removing the coil packs and the way that the wires and stuff are set up. Today what I did is I just put all my coil connectors up out of the way on the manifold, my MAF sensor connector. I used a 17 mil to disconnect my fuel line. If you're going to do this job, before you disassemble anything, disconnect your fuel pump fuse and run it dry to relieve the pressure and drain the fuel out of your fuel rail, or else you're going to have some leaking out when you remove the fuel line. And this line for your vacuum booster for your brakes, that goes right here on the back of the manifold. There's two buttons to depress, and then just firmly pull that out. That comes out, and then you can swing these up out of the way when you're going to get your rocker cover gaskets off, your valve cover gaskets. I was using these pick tools here, get these hoses off. These are very handy. Got a whole set of them, but just a couple of them. Because of the age of the vehicle, these hoses are dried up and brittle, so they're cracking on me. I'm gonna have to replace them. But I removed this hose here. I removed it also on the back because I'm gonna need to replace it at this T. Then you're gonna have to take this line off as well. That goes down here to the air intake, and then one more hose on your rebreather over here. That's got to come off. Okay, now it's a matter of a bunch of E-Torques, size 10, taking them out of the valve cover all the way around, and you got to remove these couple that are back here by the oil dipstick and holding this air intake in. I'm going to replace the throttle intake seal. There's a seal that's at the base of this intake, right before right on the throttle body. That dries up, and you'll get a air intake leak, which will impede performance and gas mileage. They get dry and brittle, and you get unmetered air in, so you're not getting your proper air fuel mixture with that. All right, so I'm gonna try to get this out. There's a tab you have to pull up on here. It's kind of in the blind, but if you reach down here, it's on the other side, towards this side, on the back. There's a tab you got to pull up on, and I think that kind of rocks out towards the back and then up to get that out, if you want to do that air intake seal there by the throttle body. I figure if you're going this far on your vehicle, you may as well do it while you're there. You got everything moved out of the way. So I like to do things while they're convenient on my terms, instead of having a break on me and then I'm stuck and I got a whole production to go through again. Okay, I'm going to start getting my size 10 E-Torques and start removing the rocker cover bolts. And I got these screws from the dealership. You have these little compartments, the little chambers for the rebreather. This is like your PVC, positive PCV, positive crankcase vacuum. On another car, there's a negative pressure here that sucks the crankcase vacuum up, recirculating back into your air intake. There's 3 screws. I think they're size T30 on here. I'm not sure though. Don't hold me to that. I think they're a 30. You got 3 screws on that side and 2 on this side on that chamber. That got to come out. They recommend replacing those screws. I got the 5 new screws for 10 bucks from the dealership. I figured better safe than sorry. I think they're aluminum, so 10 bucks is worth avoiding a future headache. And I bought the Mercedes sealant for this job as well. So let me start taking those bolts out and we'll get back to you. On your dipstick, your transmission dipstick here, tube, you got a 10mm bolt holding that on there that you got to remove. That's connected right into the valve cover. Just wanted to note that. That's a 10mm. Take note to where your hoses are routed. the way that they run through here, so you can get them back in the right way. This one goes right up underneath the fuel rail, and then the fuel line hooks up underneath that hose, so you don't route them the wrong way. Then this hose runs under the fuel line into that air intake. And this one here just goes right through, shaped, it's contoured, and it runs right around there, down into that same T that that other one meets up into, okay? Just wanted you to take note of where those hoses go. I removed that E-Torx right here. That helps hold that intake in that connects to the throttle body. I'm going to try to lift that out now. See if I can reach around here to that clip. Now, I felt it before. There it is. I don't know if I can get it from this side. I may have to get it from the other side. It's just a tab that sticks out there. Where is it? I can't get it from this end. I got fat hands. Try it again from this side. I've got nerve damage from my back, so I have like no strength in my left hand. I cannot depress that tab with my left hand. My left hand is so weak. Alright, I'm going to pause this because I don't want to keep wasting your time. Okay, to get this out, I can't show you this, but you got to reach down in there on that clip. I have weakness in my left hand because of my nerve damage. I got a fucked up back. But that clip, I was trying to lift up on it and out. You got to push down and out. Then this unclips from here, and that comes out of here. Okay, it's down and out, and then pull out on this clip, and then that comes up and off of there. I left that other hose connected over there. I'll just reroute it back through. And that's the way you get that out. There goes that clip I was talking about right there. Got to push down on that, and it unclips. I was lifting up. Okay, here we go. Now I'm gonna check the condition. Oh, this seal is hard as shit. This is really hard and brittle. That had to be getting an air intake leak there. That's why I mentioned replace this if you're doing this job. If you're gonna go through it go through all the work of tearing everything apart, replace that air intake seal. Okay. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and size this up. I went to the dealership. They didn't even know with the VIN number which size this was, whether it was a 91 or 96 or 90 or 96. I gotta look. I'm gonna go check my packets now and let you know. Okay. Okay guys, here are the two different seals that they carry at the dealership. Let me put some light on in here. The larger one, the smaller one. I believe mine is a smaller one. I believe it's a 80 millimeter. Yeah, that looks like it. It might be the larger one. Hard to tell in a damn bag. Well, here are the two different part numbers. A112-159-0080, A112-159-0080. 1590180 for the larger one. They're cheap, that's why I just picked up both of them. So it was under 20 bucks for the two of them. So I think I'm gonna have to open these to make sure which one. I think it might be the larger one. They're so damn close. All right, guys, let me figure out which size fits in here. There's a smaller one. There goes the part number. Hope you guys can see that. Let me go get that on there. Just backing them out the rest of the way. What I'm going to do is just check to make sure they're all the same length, so I don't have to worry about what order they go back in. They're different lengths. I don't want to get all screwed up and throw it all in one tray here and then have to figure this out later. I'd rather set them up in order than on how I pulled them out. Sometimes taking a little extra time with stuff like that saves a lot of time. Oh, one thing I meant to mention that I didn't, it was in my other video about the spark plugs. I've blown off this engine with compressed air. If you don't have access to a compressor, you can use that canned air. You want to get as much debris and crap out of here as possible. So when you remove this cover, you don't get garbage into your valve assembly there. You don't want that getting into your engine. I'm not trying to have to do an oil change after I do this, because I just did an oil change, which I should have actually done the other way around, but I didn't realize I had that bad of a intake manifold leak. There were other things I needed to straighten out on the car anyway. I didn't know if this car was worth keeping. It had set for about a year. I didn't even want to crank it over with the oil that was in it. It did not look good. So I changed the oil, removed the fuse from the fuel pump, and I cranked it up without it starting, just to get some fresh oil up into the engine. I wanted to protect the engine components. Yeah, I think these are all the same size, actually, with the exception of these two. Yep, they're all the same. With the exception of that one and the one that holds the air intake in. That's a shorter one. And then you got that 10 mil for the dipstick retainer. So I'm going to leave those on the side there. Okay. Got rabbit shit floating around in here. A rabbit built a nest on top of this engine. Some of that didn't come out with the compressed air, obviously. I just found a rabbit turd. Nice, right? I've been getting rained out with working on this. I don't know if I'm going to get both sides done today, but I'll at least get the one done. If you're new working on a Mercedes, you open your hood, close it a little bit, press this, and your hood will go all the way up till it opens 90 degrees, which I love that feature on these cars. Makes it a lot easier to work on them. You're not fighting under the engine hood all the time, and you get a lot of light in there. Alright, I'm going to pry this off gently, and I'll be back after I get it off. Took my pick tool and I leaned it up against the fuel rail. If you're having a hard time, don't pry hard against this cover or your fuel rail. These are a magnesium blend, I believe. These will break. Just try working it around easily. Don't go gorilla on this stuff. These will crack. Take your time. Patience pays off in the long run, and you wind up getting a job done quicker than if you try to rush through it. How the hell am I going to get this dipstick out of my way? I don't think I got to disconnect that. There must be a way for me to walk that around that. I hope. You gotta be shitting me. Maybe I gotta disconnect that down there. Looks like I do. Maybe I need to do that just to get a little more play here. I don't know if that's an E10. Looks a lot larger. Alright, let me figure this out. I had to remove that second bolt on the transmission dipstick line. That's an E430. That's actually one of the bolts that hold the transmission bell housing to the block. I gotta look up the torque spec for that when I throw that back in. With that out of the way, you can shove your transmission dipstick line over a little bit and move your oil dipstick out of the way a little bit, and then you can lift it out. Okay, be careful to lift that straight out. Don't flip that over. If you got debris on top of your valve cover, you don't want to get that shit in the engine, like I said before. Now we're going to remove the gasket and clean this up as best as possible. And then I have to open up that chamber, clean the sealant out of there. Don't go scratching that up too hard. Don't use a wire brush on it. If you're going to use anything, I would use maybe a brass or a stiff nylon brush. But be careful to not tear the edge up on that. You just need to run a very thin bead also around the bolt holes of the cover. And this has got about 10 minutes setup time. So after you get these two on, you got to get the valve cover in and snug these down too, because these also put pressure on this. So you want to get that cover back in and all retained before that sets up if possible. Okay, now I'm going to clean that valve cover up. I didn't know much about the history of this car. I got little information from these people. I got this car at less than what it would have been worth at the scrapyard. But I did that the vehicle master inquiry. In the first half of this vehicle's life, it was cared for and taken to the dealership. I assume when it was under warranty, when the owners gave it to their daughter. It looks like it was abused, but these are pretty robust engines. They wouldn't be used as taxi cabs and police cars all over the place in Europe if they were pansies. So this doesn't look spotless, but it looks a lot better than I was expecting. Actually, I don't see big globs of sludge anywhere, so I'm actually happy. It's not so horrible. Yeah, they slacked off on some of the oil changes, but it's not terrible. Okay, I've gone all around in these channels with the small screwdriver, gently cleaning everything off. It was weird. It almost looked like there was O-rings here from the old sealant. I cleaned that out as well on all the channels. Now I'm going to clean this up with brake cleaner. It's important when you're running a bead through here, you can just put a level bead all across here, but you have to also put it around each one of these holes. These have to be sealed as well. Then get that on, put those two smaller screws in, torque them down. I got to look up the torque spec. I think it's something like 2 foot-pounds. It's a really low torque, and I got to look up the torque for the valve cover bolts. I'll try to get that in. Alright, I'm going to finish cleaning the rest of this stuff up, and I'll be back. Okay guys, I'm back. I went and I got OE Mercedes valve cover gaskets. They look beefier than the aftermarkets. I want to give you the numbers. I don't remember which side is which. I think this is for the passenger side on American cars, left side driver. That is A113 016 0321. A113 016 0321. Then I believe the driver's side, left side of the engine, is A113 016 0221. From what I've found with torque specs, it's 10 newton meters for the valve covers, which converts to 88.5 inch-pounds. I'm going to do it in a sequence of 2 or 3 stages, like 40 pounds, 60 pounds, and then 88.5. It's 2 newton meters on those small screws, but the threads look like they took some of the meat out from that. I don't know who. It looks like somebody manhandled this when they had done this previously. So I'm just going to use a 1/4 inch drive, and I'm going to go by feel. I don't want to strip them out and have to helicoil that. I'm trying to save myself some work. Okay, so there go the specs for that. I went to the car wash and actually pressure washed my valve cover off. It was real grimy. Saved me a lot of work there, and then I did it with brake cleaner. Alright guys, Be back. Yeah, I believe I had those numbers right in the order I gave them to you, because this has this little air inlet on this side. I don't believe it has it on the other side. Make sure you get that lead in, all the way around. With a nail, but I finally got it. Oh, I see a little bit that I missed there. Let me seal this up so it doesn't dry out on me. A little bit of sealant in there that I missed. I'm kind of rushing a little bit, which I shouldn't do. I preached about taking your time, but I want to get this wrapped up before I lose sunlight. Another piece I missed. And that's enough to cause a leak. I'm glad I cleaned this up with brake fluid, brake cleaner. Good. Great stuff. Couple more little pieces. And I got touches of moisture in there, so I cannot do this yet. I said I wasn't going to hit this with a wire brush, but I actually did do that. I just went gently with it. I was missing some of that debris. And missing that is not a good thing. I might have needed to make a bigger hole in this. Son of a bitch. I gotta open this up more. I can't work with this like this. See how that works. Pretty thick stuff. It's a little better. You don't want to go crazy with this where you got it gushing out all over the place. It's going to get in to your engine, and that's not a good thing. Go in sparingly. Very thick shit. Does not come out of the tube easily. Let me go over this with my finger and level this out later. Christ, they should have made a bigger hole. I need a bigger hole in this fucking thing. That may do it. It's a little better. Bitch of a time squeezing this out of this tube. Killing my hand. What if I got some old shit? Ugh. Alright, that's gonna have to do it. Afraid I'm gonna fuck it up by finger fucking it. Nail in here, hopefully I won't waste that rest of that tube. Probably gonna dry out on me, it was tight as shit already. Okay. Great, these are now Allen heads. I gotta go get an Allen. Shit. Those were 4mm Allens. I didn't notice that. I assumed they were T25s like the other ones. Now that almost feels like it's cross-threading to me. Told you before, those threads did not look good on that. It looked like it had a load of material there. That's better. Somebody cross-threaded this when they did this before. Way too much meat on that screw. And that just slipped. That's it. I can snug them. That's it. That's all I can do. It's a 4mm Allen. I get this on so I can get those other bolts in to help settle that down. These in first. Getting a little more squeeze out from them. That's good. Just wanted to make sure I started to get that on there before that's set up. That's what the most vital, to get in there a little bit, get a little bit of snugness on them. recommend starting them by hand, not with a ratchet. Make sure you're not cross-threading into that aluminum. Easy to tear that aluminum up. And just want to remember is that 10 mil. Doesn't hold the valve cover down anyway. That's just for the transmission dipstick. More on that, huh? Alright, those are all at 45 pounds. I'm going to go up to like 65. I don't know if you actually have to do it in this many steps, but can't hurt to do so. Might hurt not to. Now I'm gonna go 88.5. And crisscross them now. I think I hit that one already. Okay guys, that's how you do valve covers and rebreather chamber on a M112 or M113 engine from Mercedes. Sorry I wasn't a little more smooth and graceful with that sealant, but I think we did the job. Same thing for the other side. I'm going to have to do that another day. I don't have time to do both of them. I just wanted to get that wrapped up. I'm going to throw my breather back on, order some of these hoses from the dealer. I want to go with OEM stuff when it comes to certain things on this car, you know. I got to find a torque spec for that bell housing bolt. I'm not just going to snug that up. I'm going to do that by torque spec. Okay. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope I could bring you some bolt was I believe 40 newton meters, 146 inch-pounds. It sounded too low to me, but considering that this is aluminum or magnesium, now it kind of makes sense, you know. So another one that said 20 newton meters plus 90 degrees. Okay guys, that's it. Take care. Useful information. Please give a like and subscribe. I'm trying to make my channel grow, and please feel free to have any comments or questions. Contact me. Take care guys. Have a good day. Bye bye.